Hello and welcome to this edition of Culture Mosaic, a weekly culture journal that brings you the latest updates on the Vietnamese cultural and entertainment scenes. In today's episode, we'll take you to explore the art of Vietnamese handicraft, movies, and cuisine. Bamboo products are a special craft of Vietnam, but the person behind the bamboo souvenirs in our culture and lifestyle has a special story. He overcame his disability and dedicates to making beautiful products as a way to inspire others. Moving on to movies, we'll take a look at how a Hollywood screenwriter helps promote the image of Vietnam through her movie to be shown on Netflix soon. Last but not least, cuisine cannot be missed out. Let's go to a cooking class with us to learn how to make Vietnamese food and find out many other interesting aspects of Vietnamese culture that attract our foreign friends when they visit Vietnam. Disabled man dedicates his life to bamboo souvenirs. A Hollywood screenwriter's desire to promote Vietnam tourism. Connecting cultures through Vietnamese cuisine. Now, let's begin with some local news. 22 new caves with unique features have been found by the British Cave Research Association in the central province of Quảng Bình, according to the management board of Phong Nha Kẻ Bàng National Park. The caves span a total length of 11.7 kilometers. Of the new discoveries, 20 were found in Tuyên Hóa and Minh Hóa districts, while the rest are inside the Phong Nha Kẻ Bàng National Park. The search for the new caves involved explorers from the UK, Australia, and New Zealand who worked for 3 weeks with the support of tour guides and a number of locals. In order to use the caves for tourism and exploration, the British Cave Research Association recommends that Quảng Bình Province conduct further research to evaluate the safety, sailing heights, flow, and geomorphology of the caves. The International Hot Air Balloon Festival 2023 took place in the city of Huế in the central province of Thừa Thiên Huế. With the slogan, Huế, Beauty of the Ancient Capital, the event was part of activities held for the Huế Summer Festival 2023. It featured balloons flying as high as 300 to 500 meters, carrying 2 to 3 tourists and a pilot. Participants could choose to fly freely or at a fixed location. The duration for each flight was 5 minutes in favorable weather conditions. U.S. magazine Forbes recently named the northern province of Ninh Bình one of the 23 best places to travel this year. According to the article, the locality is rising in popularity on social media, so it won't stay a hidden gem for too long, as it still offers a very authentic experience of northern Vietnam. Earlier in February, the province was chosen as one of the world's 10 most welcoming regions, a category in the annual Traveler Review Awards 2023, announced by the site Booking.com. In the first quarter of this year, Ninh Bình welcomed 3.2 million tourist arrivals, surging 4.84 year-on-year, with estimated tourism revenue of about $106 million. UK-based travel firm The Bucket List Company has ranked Vietnamese cuisine in 8th place on its list of the top 10 most popular cuisines according to social media engagement, with South Korea topping the list, followed by Italy and Mexico. The travel firm looked at levels of interaction on TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. According to their findings, Vietnamese cuisine has nearly 3.4 million related hashtags on Instagram and 1.7 billion views on TikTok. 3 days after its release, the music video Về với em or Come Back to Me by Võ Hạ Trâm has surpassed 3 million views, topping the trending section of YouTube Vietnam. The MV also topped the charts for iTunes listeners. This is the first song in Võ Hạ Trâm Vietnamese Indian music project, The Love Journey, which will consist of 3 songs released by the singer in 2023. The music video combines traditional Indian musical instruments and signature Indian dances performed in traditional outfits in front of famous scenery in Rajasthan. The song centers on eternal love and the perspective of a woman who wants to devote her whole heart to her lover. For a long time, the image of bamboo has become close to every Vietnamese. Bamboo has been used to make many useful items, from simple utensils to handicrafts and interior decoration. In An Giang province, bamboo has been turned into art through the hands of a disabled man. In today's culture and lifestyle, we'll meet Triệu Hồng Hồ Em, a young man with disabilities but full of will and talent, starting a business with handmade bamboo products.
Đang học tiểu học, em mới bệnh, em bệnh rồi. Cũng như nhà mình rất là nghèo nên đâu có đi tới bác sĩ mình để mình trị tận gốc đâu. Từ từ nó chuyển nặng là nằm một chỗ luôn. Sau một thời gian cứ như là mình sống khép kín luôn, nó ngại giao tiếp của người với người ngoài, rồi mình bị mất tự tin, mình rất là tự ti luôn.
At the age of 10, Ho Em was diagnosed with polio, which led to muscle atrophy. Feeling sad and helpless due to his illness and inability to help his family, Ho Em struggled, and his fate changed.
Vô tình thấy được cái lóng tre mà mẹ đã mua về mẹ làm công việc xong còn dư á, cái em mới kêu mẹ trẻ ra rồi em làm. Giống như là mình chỉ có chơi thôi, trong đầu cứ nghĩ mình làm gì được mình làm. Mới đầu em mới làm được những cái sản phẩm nhỏ nhỏ trước. Mình không có nghĩ là mình bán hoặc là mình gắn bó tới sản phẩm cái nghề tre này từ đó tới bây giờ. Mình chỉ tặng những ai mà tới thăm mình đó. Sau này vô tình thì cái người này người kia hỏi đặt mua mình làm mình bán luôn.
Bằng được cái ngôi nhà nhỏ bán không biết bao nhiêu mà mình rất là mừng. Nhưng mà mình khóc lén với con. Mình động viên nói dữ lắm. Con ơi, mình phải biết có cái nghề cũng như tủ tiền để sẵn con. Dù mình bằng có ít nhiều đi nữa cũng là đồng tiền mình làm ra. Con chỉ vậy là mẹ vui rồi. Còn cái chuyện con làm nè, tre bọng á, mẹ đi đốn, mẹ đem về nhà. Con cưa mẹ chuốt, mẹ chẻ tiếp con.
With both her husband and oldest son having tragically passed away, the burden of the family was put on the shoulders of this mother. Since Ho Em found his joy with bamboo products, Mrs. An has always been by his side to encourage him to continue this job and is ready to support him when needed.
Con mình nó bệnh tật, nó không thể nó làm đồ nặng như người ta được. Mình tìm cái nhẹ nhàng cho con mình nó làm. Thì nó ở nhà với mình, nó gần gũi mình hơn. Mình chăm sóc cho con dễ hơn. Ở ngoài vườn tre này nhiều lắm. Đôi khi không có tiền mua tre, mấy bác cho. Mua mấy trăm triệu gì đó, mấy bác lấy hơn nữa.
With each new product, Ho Em's passion grows and inspires him to make many different bamboo souvenirs to earn money to support his mother. Due to difficult hand movements, a stiff neck, weak legs, and poor health, it takes Ho Em longer to make his souvenir products. Depending on the type, it can take from a couple of days to up to 2 to 3 months to complete a simple product.
Mà làm một cái bông hoa tre thì nó rất là nhiều cái công đoạn. Từ lúc mình mua nguyên liệu về, mình cắt ra rồi mình phơi, mình xử lý, rồi mình phải gót cái vỏ nó cho nó nhẵn, rồi mình phải cắt ống, rồi mình chẻ, rồi mình lại mài nữa. Đầu tiên là sự kiên nhẫn, rồi thứ hai nữa là cái sự yêu nghề của mình kiên trì để vô đó. Mình làm cái sản phẩm mới đầu thì nó rất là hô, thậm chí là mấy cái cánh hoa em mài nó không được mỏng, rồi gọi là nó xấu luôn. Từ từ em mới nghĩ là mình nghĩ cái chi tiết nào mình cần thay đổi đó, thành ra mình làm với nó hoàn thiện được như vậy.
While working and self-studying, Ho Em himself has ordered more components online and invented several kinds of cutters, planers, saws, and mini grinders that are suitable for his hands. So far, Ho Em has made hundreds of types of souvenir products, which cost anywhere from a few to hundreds of dollars, allowing him to earn a stable income for himself. Hoem's products are diverse, from musical instruments to clocks, flower pots, keychains, and of course, bamboo flowers.
Những cái hoa thì em thấy nó cũng rất là đẹp, rồi mình cứ ngắm nghía nó hoài rồi mình lại nghĩ tới nhiều cái bạn mà cũng cùng cảnh ngộ như mình, rồi mình thậm chí người ta như mình lúc đầu thôi, người ta sống rất là khép kín, không có giao tiếp với thế giới bên ngoài, nhưng mà bất cứ ai cũng có cái giá trị riêng của người ta hết trơn. Giống như em khuyết tật thì em có giá trị riêng của em, thì mình cứ sống đúng cái bản chất của mình cố gắng mình sống tốt hàng ngày hàng giờ là được.
Making films to promote culture and tourism is a smart way, and this method has been applied by many countries around the world. This trend is spotted in Vietnam in recent years. As the tourism market opened strongly after the COVID-19 pandemic, Vietnam and its people and culture have been portrayed vividly through not only domestic cinema products, but also through films made by foreign filmmakers. Recently, the premiere of the film A Tourist's Guide to Love gave the international audiences a multifaceted picture of Vietnam through an interesting love story. A special thing to mention is that the screenplay was written by a Vietnamese-born screenwriter with a strong love for her homeland. So let's explore the stories behind the making of this film in our On the Mic segment this week.
We are sending you to Vietnam.
I choose adventure. I'm taking chances.
I'm Sin, your new tour guide.
Dancing the open sky.
A Tourist's Guide to Love was the first foreign film produced in Vietnam since it reopened to tourism. The film has quickly attracted people's attention with images that vividly and faithfully recreate the beauty of Vietnam through the lens of a Hollywood director. It's romantic, humorous, and familial love story. Written by Erin Donahue, a Vietnamese-American screenwriter, the film invites viewers to discover the endless beauty of this country and has been regarded as one of the most accurate cinematic depictions of Vietnam in recent years.
And those are the scenes from the movie A Tourist's Guide to Love, which has made a lot of strong impressions on the public recently. And here with me today is the screenwriter for the movie, Erin Donahue. Thank you so much for spending your time with us here today. So how are your feelings now that the movie has premiered?
I'm so excited. I can't wait for people to see this, to share this story with people. And, you know, it's lived in my head for so long, so for people to finally see it is, any writer, it's a dream come true when something finally gets produced and you get to share it with an audience.
Definitely. And so how long have you been brewing the screenplay for this movie?
From the time that we started developing it, it's been about 2 years. So originally I developed this idea with Rachel Lee Cook, the star, and it is inspired by my own actual life story of how I met my husband while traveling in Vietnam, in Hanoi, actually. Yeah. We shot last year in Vietnam, and so then it took another year before it's, you know, ready for everyone to see.
So, you know, you just mentioned that you met your husband here in Hanoi, and so can you tell us more about that?
No problem. Well, my mother is Vietnamese, and so I had been to Vietnam for the first time when I graduated from college, and then came back a few months later with my sister. And on this trip, my boyfriend at the time unexpectedly broke up with me. And so when I came to Vietnam for 5 weeks, I was heartbroken. But after a few weeks of traveling, realized, you know, I was ready for a new adventure. And I walked into a restaurant with my sister, and there were these 4 backpackers sitting there, and one was a dreamy Canadian surfer named Brad. And then that summer, I went to visit him in Banff in Canada, where he's from, and ended up staying for a month, and that was 22 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So that was the sort of basic idea for this movie, was about a woman who was living a sort of safe, stable life. She comes to Vietnam, and she falls in love with her Vietnamese tour guide, and also learns that same lesson, that she doesn't have to follow the normal path, that she can open herself up to adventure and love.
in your original story, the inspiration for that is you are the Vietnamese person,
Yes,
right?
and my husband is white. Last year when we came back to visit for the filming, or my first time back in 20 years, so we went into, we were in Ho Chi Minh City, and then we also went to Hoi An, where they were filming, and we got to be in the movie. We were background actors in the beach scene.
Yeah.
You look real close in the back. You will see
Yeah.
me and my husband and daughter. We visited the rest of my family in Quang Ngai, and
Yeah.
so my aunt still lives on the family farm where my mom grew up. And so to take my husband there and my daughter there and to watch my daughter catching chickens in the same place that my mom used to catch chickens when she was a little girl, it was so powerful. And to introduce them to my family and see a different side of Vietnamese culture that you don't get when you're just in tourist areas.
Yeah. So when it comes to like Hollywood movies in general, when they talk about Vietnam, they usually regurgitate a lot of the common narratives such as the war or just weird cultural features in general. So what does your movie, A Tourist Guide to Love, offers in terms of narratives that is different from what the movies talk about Vietnam before?
Absolutely. That was one of my goals in making this movie was, like you said, in the United States, around the world, when they tell stories about Vietnam, it's always about the war. It was important to me to show Vietnam as a modern, thriving, complex country and the people and the culture in a joyful way. I wanted to write a love story about Vietnam, set in Vietnam, so that people could fall in love with this country and culture, because the war is such a small part of Vietnam's history and it doesn't define Vietnam. So I was just so excited for people to see this movie and to see a love story and a modern love story where, you know, you see Vietnam as it is today. The fact that this is a love letter to Vietnam is the part that I am most proud of.
So the movie is filmed in a lot of famous Vietnam tourist destinations such as Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, Hoi An, and My Son Heritage Site. Why did you pick those locations to showcase on the movie?
It was really hard. It was really hard to choose places, and actually we changed them as we developed the script. So, I mean, in my original version, there were like 10 stops, you know? It was like, and then we're gonna go here, and we're gonna go here, and we're gonna go here, and I just wanted to show the whole country, you know, Ha Long Bay, you know, like I would have loved to include that as well, all of the different places, but we, you know, budget time, you have to sort of focus. One of the places, and so clearly it's going to start in Ho Chi Minh and in Hanoi, like, you know, so you can get the sort of full spectrum. Hoi An is so romantic. It was such a beautiful backdrop for the story that we wanted to tell, the visuals, it was so stunning. And then the countryside, it's beautiful, and I wanted to show that part of Vietnam as well.
Most recently, the film crew returned to Vietnam for its official launch. After many months of waiting, global audiences can finally enjoy the film on a streaming platform.
Qua nửa vòng trái đất, tôi lại thêm có một cái thằng cháu nội. Tôi rất là thú vị và rất nhiều hy vọng mình sẽ học hỏi lẫn nhau, nhất là trong lĩnh vực nghề nghiệp.
Về quay cái phim này như mơ ước, anh thì thương cái nước Việt Nam.
For the cast and crew, that is the culmination of many months of hard work and will likely inspire new developments in Vietnam and the international film industry.
So watching the film in completion for the first time, was it just like what you imagined in your head when you write this screenplay? Or is it go better than your expectations?
It's both. It's sometimes things turn out a little bit differently and you're like, oh, that wasn't how I expected. But then other times it's like, whoa, I didn't even think of that. The thing about film is that it's a collaborative process. And so you just have to sort of trust the people that you're working with and then let it go. And I'm very happy with how it turned out, though. The truth and the heart of the story that I wanted to tell is still there. In my head, I imagine all of these scenes, and then to be able to see them come to life was really so powerful. The cast that they created that they brought together was amazing. Everyone is so good in the movie, and when I watched it, it was like, yeah, nope, these are the people.
So what are the narratives about Vietnam that you're hoping that the audience would receive when watching this movie?
I feel like they'll see something they've never seen, because as far as I know, there haven't been another story completely filmed in Vietnam in the way that this movie was. You know, they often film movies in Thailand or the Philippines that are supposed to be set in Vietnam, but like, you can't fake Hoi An. You know, you can't fake Hanoi. You can't fake some of these landscapes. They will see that, and then they will also see a variety of Vietnamese people, of Vietnamese characters, because very often when you make a movie, especially in the United States, sometimes it's that one character that you get one, it'll be like one Vietnamese character, and then they have to represent everyone. So being able to have a few different Vietnamese characters to show different sides of the people that live here, I think is a really important aspect of this movie as well.
You know, Vietnam has been rising as one of the top destinations for tourists coming in. So as someone who has worked extensively in the movie industry in Hollywood, what are your hopes for Vietnam when this movie premiered, especially during this time?
I mean, I hope everyone just comes here. I don't know how you could watch this movie and not want to come to Vietnam, because it makes it look so beautiful.
Yes.
And what's also important to me is that people will then become more interested in Vietnamese stories and all the diversity of stories that are out there. And I feel like Vietnam is actually having a rising moment right now, and all of Southeast Asia, because there have been so many East Asian, you know, Japanese, Korean, Chinese stories, and that people want something different. They want fresh stories. They want unique, authentic stories. And I think this is an opportunity for people to learn and to find out more about Vietnam.
Thank you so much, Erin Chen Donahue, for spending your time with us here today, and we wish you all the best for your future works. Thank you.
Thank you.
Many foreign tourists who come to Vietnam are very surprised and excited by the rich culinary culture. More and more people have become curious and want to find out how Vietnamese dishes are cooked and what ingredients make up each dish. For years, special cooking classes have been held for both Vietnamese and foreigners. And thanks to these classes, tourists feel more connected to Vietnam and its people. Today's episode of Connecting Cultures will take you to one of these exciting classes.
Yeah, very inspiring.
Surprising, fun.
Wow, this is such an amazing cooking class.
Those were the feelings of the attendees participating in the cooking class. And here are the traditional Vietnamese dishes after they were finished. Phở, bún chả, and spring rolls. Before cooking delicious dishes like these, participants went to the market with a chef to have an authentic Vietnamese cultural experience.
Trên cung đường đi chợ thì cũng là việc khách được thưởng thức các món ăn đường phố, hay là các cái nguyên liệu khách được nhìn thấy còn tươi mới, và khách cũng có thể tham gia việc mua bán, và có nhiều thực khách còn được học cách mặc cả để mua nguyên liệu làm sao đó đúng văn hóa của người Việt Nam.
It was a fantastic experience. The traditional basil that you have, all those are scents or smells that I didn't, or that I don't know from Germany or from France. So this is, when you walk the streets of the small markets and you have the smell coming, this is just very new to me. What surprised me most is just the energy of the market.
It's a really unforgettable moment for me. It was my first time experiencing buying grocery in a local market. I've never seen such a huge cinnamon, for example.
After the market, they went straight to the kitchen, where the chef guided each attendee from start to finish. They were able to make Vietnamese dishes themselves, taste the spices, talk with each other, and learn about the cuisine. The whole experience created an exciting atmosphere and is also considered one of the best ways to interact with and experience different cultures.
Bún chả, we cooked summer rolls, but also to learn the traditional basis of Vietnamese cuisine, and yeah, then take all those experiences back home with me. So, you know, I'm traveling alone. I have never felt alone. The way that Vietnamese people are welcoming others with their open arms, that has been my experience.
We can connect together even if we are from different culture, because food reunites us.
This is a great exchange culture experience for me because I've got to meet friends from German and also from Italy, and I think it's great for me to know more about their cultures, and also it's great for me to share my Vietnamese culture.
Cooking classes like these have been offered by Chef Nguyễn Mạnh Tiến for over 20 years. He hopes to connect many international friends with Vietnam and make Vietnamese cuisine more accessible to the world.
Khách rất háo hức về nhà nấu lại món ăn và chụp ảnh gửi, chia sẻ lại nhà hàng và cảm ơn. Hào hứng và rất muốn giúp đỡ, bởi vì khi giữ được liên lạc với khách, đó là một cái cầu nối về văn hóa rất tốt. Khách chia sẻ và khách cũng rất muốn quay lại Việt Nam vào những dịp khác.
And that is the end of our program. If you'd like to catch us online, download the VTV Go app from your Google Play or App Store, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4Go for more of our programs. And don't forget to join us next week for another episode of Culture Mosaic. Goodbye for now.